Hello everybody and welcome back. I am the Pumpkin King, and in today's episode we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be taking a tour of our 3 completed islands so far, namely Islas Muerta East and Matenceros. We have just gotten to the point where we have 5-starred Islas Muerta East, and I went through and wanted to get the other islands up close to that as well. In the previous episode, we took on the science mission from Muerta East, and I did the entertainment mission off screen because, well, it was on screen, but my computer has been crashing the Jurassic World Evolution recently, so that footage didn't come out. Anyway, jumping into it, coming down from the monorail, over to our left is another monorail station which would take you around the island. This is the monorail that I need for my transportation rating. To progress along the path over to the right, we have our Ankylosaurid exhibit. This is where we have Ankylosaurus, Dracorex, and Crichtonosaurus, as you can see over here. I added some trees to the enclosures to try to hide the fences a little better and make it for better show. Coming back down to the main walkway, over on our left, this is the backstage area. Guests are not supposed to go down there, but they do pretty regularly. If it were possible, I would have had this gated off. But this is a guest area. Here we have the clothing store and our restaurant, and we'll be completing the trifecta and adding an arcade just as soon as I unlock it on Islas Matenceros. For right now, though, the toy store is the only way that I have to add fun, and we'll talk more about that later. Looking at this enclosure, we've got 2 Ceratosaurus. I have a backup because my original Ceratosaurus is quite old at this point. It's probably going to die pretty soon. I also threw some Struthiomimus in there, maxed out rating so that I could increase their star rating as well. If you look at the star rating for the island, you can see that we've got 5 stars on the dinosaurs, and we are almost 5-star on the facility rating. We were actually at 5 stars when I began the video, but it fluctuates slightly. Here's a kill. Get him, Ceratosaurus. Get that good rating. Continuing along down the main path, over on our right, this is a Baryonyx Enclosure. The viewing gallery is unfortunately placed because with the monorail track in the way, it's hard to really see. With enclosures like the Troodon and the Baryonyx, they are primarily meant to be viewed by the monorail. We'll take a ride on that a little later on. As we continue down Main Street, over on our left, we've got 2 viewing galleries for an Iguanodon exhibit. We've got the Alpine and the Steppe Iguanodons in here right now. Once again, you can see we've got all of the backstage area hidden behind trees and fences, and once I unlock the concrete, I'm going to come through and make sure that those areas are not visible from front of house. Around the bend here, up on the hill where we've prepared the area, we've got our hotel with a nice view over the island and over the ocean. And of course it has its signature hotel attached to it as well. Continuing down the main street after we've done our big bend, we'll come to the enclosure that we did for the science mission. This has a Lauratitan, Dracorex, and Triceratops, as well as, I believe, Edmontosaurus in here. Over here, you can get a better view of the Iguanodon Enclosure. Not you can really see them all that well, since they are pretty small. What I've wanted to do with the island, we're going to jump back over on the other side here, there's the entertainment ones. You can see we actually have some Corinthiasaurus and stuff left. I'm actually quite happy with the way the science mission worked out. Through a combination of using flares and sacrificing some Struthiomimus, for which I had bred up extras, I actually was able to get out with all of the Hadrosaurids still alive. In order to introduce the pack of raptors necessary for the mission, I quadruple bagged the fence with heavy steel and made an enclosure well away from everything, as well as shut down the entire park during that time. Over here we've got 2 more hotels right up on this little private beach area here with a view out over the water. And I want to put a ranger station right over in the area here next to these power plants so that it'll be backstage and so that I don't have to drive the ranger vehicles all the way across the island, crossing over the busy main street so regularly. So that's Muerta East. The island is a big bend. It's a big right angle. And I'm actually pretty happy with how it's going so far with the layout. We've been able to keep all the backstage areas backstage. And I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go to our next island. We'll go back to the original island that we started off with, Islas Matenceros. There are some changes that have occurred here that you'll likely notice. For one thing, we've added a couple new exhibits and I've cleaned everything up just a little bit. So as we enter in on Islas Matenceros, once again, over to our left is the power station and the backstage area, but there's also this nice little garden here now. And if we jump into the first viewing gallery here, you can see that I've added some Nicitroceratops in with the Triceratops, and I've relocated the Crichtonosaurus to a different part of the island. Over here in our next exhibit, we've still got Struthiomimus and Edmontosaurus together. Not much has changed there. I wanted to try to keep the dinosaurs restricted to the ones that you unlock on each island. There's our Ceratosaur climbing a cliff there. But the big change is that now we've wrapped the backstage area around the little mountain donut in the middle there. And we have 2 new exhibits, including one for a Chunkinosaurus, which is themed in an Asian style with the bamboo and some trees from the downloadable content. And we also have an Ankylosaurus exhibit with Ankylosaurus and Crichtonosaurus right here in this area as well. The monorail brings us around to just another little guest area over here. Once again, once I unlock the arcade, I'm going to be replacing the toy shops with the arcades, and that should be sufficient to push me over the 5-star rating. But for right now, this is as good as it gets. The monorail runs down from this area into the more guest area. And we've got our hatchery here, and it follows this little service road backstage. And this is something that I'm really happy I discovered. If you open up the gates, the dinosaurs will simply walk in on their own. So I actually don't need to use an ACU team to transport these dinosaurs. I am going to put another ranger station up in the corner there to deal with the Dracorex, just so that they are not having to drive across guest lines in order to be able to get there as well. If we look at our rating, you can see we're 1 dinosaur short of having the 5-star rating on that, so that's no problem. But if you look at our rating for the facility rating, you can see the fun rating is kind of killing us right now. I am stocking up on fossils, by the way. I'm kind of stock holding the ones that are $100,000 or more, because once we get to Isla Tacaño, we're going to want to have that kind of money, because Tacaño is a challenge in that you have basically no money right from the start. Anyway, this is Islas Matenceros for right now. I will be doing some more changes as we progress. Ideally, I would like to try to include the monorail to transport more towards the main gate instead of just this little guest area here. I'd like to try to bring it off over this way in like a right angle, more towards the entrance point, and then try and put the next monorail station right around in this area here somewhere, either in front of the power plant or maybe across from the little garden here. But that's where I'm looking for Islas Matenceros. Finally, we've got Isla Muerta. Muerta West, according to my sandbox. Once again, we can see we've got very close to a 5-star facility rating, and once again, you can see it's the fun rating that's killing me. So as soon as I get that arcade, I will be going through and changing out the toy stores so that we can get that good 5-star rating. Coming over here to the west part of the island, this is where we've got a small little guest area. We've just got a restaurant and a clothes store. And this is also where we have our Velociraptor Paddock. Now, the Velociraptors don't have a designated viewing gallery on this side. We do have one on the other side, which I'll show you in a moment. But it still is an absolute hot mess of these heavy steel fences. But now that I've got my ACU team right there, I can just trank the dinosaurs whenever a storm rolls through. Following this walkway over here where you can see where the viewing gallery is. Again, it's not an amazing view. It provides almost entire coverage of the paddock though, so the game thinks it's good, even though the view itself is pretty garbage. Also, we've got a new dinosaur enclosure here. This is for Coronosaurus, which you can see right in front of us. These are downloadable content that I'll put a link to in the description for the Nexus mod. We also have some iguanodons in here using the coastal and, beg pardon, the alpine and the steppe pattern.
I'm not a monkey enough for your confused. I mean, you can, of course. I want you to take this dinosaur and cut its head off and put it inside this other person's bed, because that is how we do here in the Jurassic World.
Anyway, sorry, bad Marlon Brando. Over here, we've got ourselves set up with a backstage area for Islas Muerta. Just like the other backstage areas, this would be gated off. I am going to be switching it out for concrete just as soon as I have the ability to do that. We've got our Hammond Creation Lab here, and that leads to this backstage road like we have on Matenceros. And that'll deposit dinosaurs in these paddocks. Right here we've got a Diplodocus, Dilophosaurus, and a Metracanthosaurus all in this enclosure. Right across from that, we've got ourselves set up with another guest area. This is where we've got one of the hotels with a beautiful view over the water and right on the beach. We also have its itinerant clothes store and restaurant, and of course I am going to be adding the arcade just as soon as I unlock it. Up here we've got our Ceratosaur. This is a brand new one. The last one just died recently, so I've been kind of systematically feeding it some of the older dinosaurs in order to bring up its rating. And here we've got the first enclosure we did, where we've got Struthiomimus, Crichtonosaurus, Edmontosaurus, and Ankylosaurus. You can see them all there. Now, I've got the monorail for transportation connecting the 3 nodes of the island, but I haven't really done anything with this eastern node just yet. I am going to be putting another guest area and some more attractions in here, but I haven't gotten around to doing it yet, and honestly, it's not really a priority until I unlock more dinosaurs. But that's going to be where I wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed that episode, go ahead and hit that like button. And for more Jurassic World content, feel free to subscribe for more episodes every week. But until next time, I am the Pumpkin King, and I will see you later.